We are doing the practice test for Chapter 7. So those of you that aren't here today, your test tomorrow is exactly like this. It's just different numbers. I'll be posting a well, you should come see me at some point today and get this, but whatever. You will also be getting this reference sheet for the vectors, which has all the vector formulas on it that you might need. So you will be given that tomorrow as well. Okay, here we go. So number 1, remember, almost all of this is multiple choice. Only the last 4, I believe, are not. So we're going to work smarter, not harder. 5. The last 5 are not multiple choice. We're going to work smarter, not harder. As soon as I know I have the right answer, I'm going to go with it. So when I'm looking at number 1, right, it asked me to solve all these other things. So one of the things I had to solve for is angle B. Well, that's super easy. And I'm just going to take 180 and subtract away the other 2.
142.6.
So what's angle B? 180.
37.2.
37.2. So already I can cross out choice A because I know that
Already
that is.
You can cross out every single. Oh wait, no.
Here's another thing. I don't know if you remember this from geometry, but in geometry you learned that across from the smallest angle is the smallest side. So that means 87.1 has to be my smallest side. So that means D is impossible. I don't even have to do the math. D can't be right. Likewise, the biggest side is across from the biggest angle. So AB, or side, what side is this?
Wait, side.
C has
C.
to be the longest.
C has to be the longest.
It's got to be B.
It's got to be B, even without doing any math.
Any math it has to be without any.
Now, let's say that the choices were better and I couldn't just figure it out that way. You can use law of sines, right? So law of sines, if you recall, I would just do the side that I have, 87.1, over the sine of the angle opposite it, equals any of the other sides. So let's say I wanted to solve for side C over the sine of its angle, 131.6. And then I could do the math out and solve for C. But I already know the answer is going to be B, so I'm done. All right. Number 2 is an area problem. Don't forget you still have your normal reference sheet.
Thank God, 'cause I forgot that.
Yeah, there's area of triangle. Now, this is not a right triangle.
No, so let's try.
I just have A, B, and C. Angle A is 22.6. Side B, remember, side lowercase b is the side across from the angle B. So that would be 14.1. And C would be this side, 8.6.
See,
Well,
by definition, this triangle is no longer correct because side B is longer than side C. Or no?
I don't know
Side
those
C is
angles,
the
though.
shortest.
I don't
Oh, you
know
don't
that,
the
though.
angles. Okay.
Yeah. So if I'm looking, remember, your reference sheet is so convenient too because it even tells you what sections you're in. This is a Chapter 7 test, so I bet the formulas you need are going to be in 7.1, 7.3 probably. Oh, look at this, area of a triangle. 1/2 BC sine of A.
Oh my God, we have 1/2 BC. Sorry, man.
Right, and remember, it's just 2 sides of the triangle and the angle in between them. That's what you need. So my formula, A equals 1/2 8.6 times 14.1, B times C, times the sine of A, the angle in between them.
Side of it.
Make sure your calculators are in degree mode.
23.3.
Because I would not be surprised if one of these answers is the right answer if you were in radians, right? So you're going to think that you have the answer right. Yeah, I get 23.3, choice D. We just did a problem like number 3 on the take-home quiz. So I have AB across the river. BC is 1372. Angle B is 111.4. And angle C is 13.7. I'm trying to find AB. This is a perfect problem to do law of sines. The side across this from the sine of its angle, And then I'm going to do the side across from the sine of its angle. So first thing I have to do is figure out what that angle is, but that's easy enough.
Did anyone else just hear Mr. Dion? Back in the day, I had long hair in high school, and he's talking about his locks over there.
Okay, law of sines. The side across over the sine of its angle, 13.7, equals the side, 1372, over the sine of its angle. I only have one variable. I can solve for it. I do my math.
I didn't even realize
I get 397.2.
I didn't realize we switched questions. Alright, we'll get
So.
to it. Find the exact length of side A. I'm gonna get ahead of you. So we're trying to find this side right here. This is this triangle has a rule going to it, I think.
All right, so 4, find the
Something's fishy about it.
something's fishy.
I'm trying to find this side right here.
I'm gonna say it's root 13.
Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, me
I think it's D1.
neither.
D1, baby!
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't actually think it's that.
Well, I can do law of cosines.
So how do we do that?
This side squared, a squared, equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times the cosine of a.
5 squared plus c squared minus 2.
So remember,
Wait,
look-
you do 2 times BC?
yeah,
Alright.
times the cosine of a. And that formula is, of course, on your reference sheet.
And then cosine 45.
Yep. Now, when you type all this in,
You should get
And then you
now,
get
well,
square
look
root
at your
after
answers.
you
Yeah,
got-
all your answers are
square roots.
square roots,
Obviously,
right.
we-
So I would just do this and then see what number I get, and it would just be the square root of that number. So,
I got 2. Yeah.
uh-oh. Well, okay, here's one thing that I need you to be careful on. When you do 3 root 2
You gotta use
squared,
parentheses.
you gotta use parentheses. So be careful with that. 3 square root of 2, and then you square that whole thing. So it should look like this on your calculator. So that's how I would square 3 square root 2. Or you could do it in your head and then just type in the answer.
So this is kind of hard. Hello.
Oh, hi. We are going over this practice test. We're on number 4, and you're going to need this sheet too.
We're almost.
Actually, it's right on top of that bin there, the vector properties.
Thank you. Hey, nice to see you back.
Okay, did everybody get what I got? Which is,
No, I haven't done it yet. Cosine 45.
yep.
I don't know, I got a syntax error.
That's not what you want. Are you in?
It's probably, you're probably missing
It's
a
all messed
parenthesis.
up. I'm giving up. I do give up.
Well, what you can do, if you're getting a syntax error and you're getting frustrated, just go piece by piece. So you know that's 25. Do that out. That's going to be 9 times 2 is 18, plus 18, minus 10, that's minus 30 root 2, cosine 45. Break it up into smaller pieces so that there's less to type in all at once. We should get the square root of 13.
You got it right, Alex. I got it right. Yeah.
This is
Okay, on 5, I've started drawing the triangle. They give us some information. Remember, lowercase letter indicates a side, so that's, and it's across from the angle that it's talking about. So B would be 10.7. So here's another one where I just need to solve for everything. So here's what I do know. Let's see if we can do the same thing that we did on 1 and get the answer without doing any math. Which side has to be the biggest side?
C.
Right, side C, because it's across from an obtuse angle. So I know that's my biggest angle. So side C has to be the biggest. So it is in A, it is in B, and it is in D. Okay, so that doesn't help us any. Let's see if there's anything else I could do. The smallest angle has to be angle A. So, wow, that doesn't help us either.
Wow.
We actually have to do math on this one. Well, not really, because we know the law of cosines. It's just another law of cosines problem.
I don't like.
Sorry. So, I'll do C, but luckily, look at all the C's are different. So once I get for C, I don't even have to worry about solving for angles A and B. So, C squared equals A squared plus B squared minus 2 times B times C minus, or no, sorry, cosine A. And I don't quite have my letters right. I just always call the two opposite of each other B and C, and that's A, even though that's not quite what it is in this diagram. Whatever. Those are your pieces. So now, if you just do the math correctly, you should get an answer for C that's there. So I want the square root of all of this. 7.8 squared, 10.7 squared, minus 2 times 7.8 times 10.7 times cosine 121.7. I get 16.2. So I know my answer is B. Okay, number 6 actually has a typo in it. So can everybody please take out your pencils? This bearing is incorrect. It's not supposed to be 135. It's supposed to be 315. Yeah, someone just swapped those two digits, but it makes a big difference. Right? Because if you think about it, a bearing of northwest is not at 135 at all. It's at 315. All right, so let's draw this one out. I have 2 airplanes leave an airport at the same time. One going northwest on a bearing of 315. Okay, so here's my airport, right? And then I have one plane flying northwest, so that's a bearing of 315 degrees. So here's my straight ahead is 0, 90, 180, 270, 315 is exactly halfway in between these two. That's why it's northwest, right? So here I have a plane, I'll call it P. So if this angle from here all the way around is 315, what's this angle right here? 45, correct. Okay, so this angle right here is 45. 2 planes leave an airport at the same time. One going northwest, 315, at 400 miles per hour. So this, the length of this is 400.
No,
The other is going east at 340.
after 4 hours, it's 60.
Oh, you're right, after 4 hours. So, correct, 1600. And then my other plane is going directly east, so it's just going along this line. It is going 340 miles per hour for 4 hours. So that is 1360. So here is plane 2, if you will. plane 1 and plane 2. How far apart are the planes after 4 hours? So I'm looking for this distance. I'll call it x. Well, I have these two sides. If only I knew this big ol' angle. But don't I?
45 plus 5.
45 plus 90, so this whole big angle in here is just 135.
158.
So sometimes it's helpful to draw your triangle again without all the things in the way.
I agree.
This is 135, this is 1600, this is 1360, and I'm just trying to find this. It's just another law of cosines problem. Yeah. Hurry.
Should I go put my cup and fill it up with some water?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer yet, but I know it's not B. How would I know it's not B?
Because that's so ridiculous.
It's got to be the biggest side. It's got to be bigger than 1600 and 1360. So it can't be B. I don't know if it's A, C, or D. I'm going to have to do the math out. But sometimes you never know, right? With multiple choice, sometimes there will only be one number that's bigger than 1600. So then you don't even have to do it out. But I do. So remember what we're doing. It's just law of cosines. So x squared will equal 1600 squared plus 1360 squared minus 2 times 1600 times 1360 times the cosine of 135. You type in all that math correctly and you will get a correct answer. Oops. I get 2736. What do you know? Choice C. Did you get what I got?
Yeah, I call it the square root. That's
All right. Moving right along.
next.
Eh. Oh, good. Some vector stuff.
Oh, I need to.
Well, the vectors are nice because some of these are super easy. If that's A and I want negative A, isn't it just the exact opposite? Doesn't it just go in the exact opposite direction?
Yeah.
Right? So if A is at, looks like negative 6, 8,
Yeah.
wouldn't negative A be at
6.
positive 6, negative 8?
I think so.
Yeah, 6, negative 8. There it is. Isn't that the exact opposite? There we go. So 6, negative 8, choice C. Number 8. I actually think that this is better without the diagram. So I would figure out where A is. A is at 3, 7.
Yep.
And I want to subtract from that negative 8, 4. So remember how to subtract these. You really just subtract the A's and subtract the B's. So 3 minus negative 8 is really
3 plus 8.
11. So I already know my answer is D, because that's the only one with 11. But you can go ahead and solve for B if you want. And lucky it's 3.
Weird how that works.
Number 9, find the component form of the indicated vector. All right, they want me to just do U plus V. That's easy. 8, negative 7, right? You just add the A's, add the B's. Choice A.
God, easy one.
That low-hanging fruit. Get those ones while you can. All right, 10 looks a little bit tougher. Find the magnitude and direction angle to the nearest tenth for each vector. Give the measure of the direction angle as an angle between 0 and 360. What? Well, good thing you have a reference sheet all about vectors. It says first find the magnitude. Oh, look, the magnitude of a vector is given by, this is the one where it's basically doing Pythagorean theorem.
A squared plus B squared.
Yeah, so I just have to do root 21 squared plus negative 1 squared, and then take the square root of that answer. So what's root 21 squared? 21 plus what's negative 1 squared? 1.
22.
So I want the square root of 22. So I'm down to choices A or C. Now I have to figure out this direction angle. Oh, look. The direction of a vector is, there it is. Tangent of theta equals B over A. So, tangent of my angle will be B, which is negative 1, over A, which is the square root of 21. Oh, sorry. Right? Tangent of theta equals B over A. So how do I get my calculator to spit out an answer? Second tan. Did you do second tan? Second tan. Negative 1 divided by the square root of 21.
I be feeling like the man when I'm walking.
And what do you get?
I get this, negative 12.3. So, that's not a part of A or C. Oh, wait a minute. They told me my angle had to be between 0 and 360. So, negative 12 isn't between 0 and 360, but how do I get the angle? It's,
Add 360.
right, I want its coterminal angle. Right. So 347.7 looks like it's choice A.
That was
It's not so bad, especially when you have a reference sheet that spells it all out for you. So, looking at 11, this time they gave me the magnitude and the direction, but now I need the vertical component. So this is basically going the other way. They gave me the magnitude, they gave me the angle it's going at, but I have to figure out, I don't need A and B, I just need the vertical component. Well, which one's the vertical component? Is it A or is it B?
I gave Laura the other map.
B. It's the same as X and Y, right? Isn't Y the vertical part? Yeah, so we really just want to find B. So if you look at your reference sheet, here they are, the horizontal and vertical components. So A would be that, B is that. So we want B. I just need the magnitude times the sine of the angle. That's it. They gave me the magnitude and they gave me the angle. So I literally just do 464 times the sine of my angle. Yeah, 214.3. A? Easy enough?
Which number are we on?
I'm now on 12. 12 is actually the same exact question that they just asked you. They just want both parts, A and B. And they gave you a picture instead of just words. But it's the same thing. They gave me the magnitude, 26, and its angle is 75. So, and it looks like I can just solve for A, and I should get my answer. I look at my reference sheet, and I see that A is just equal to the magnitude times the cosine of the angle.
A equals
That's the magnitude, so the length of the whole thing.
cosine theta.
13 root 6 minus 13.
So this one's just going to be A equals 26 times the cosine of 75. That's it. 26 times cosine 75. 6.73. So it's got to be choice A. You can solve for B if you like.
Chopping out a bunch of roots is 13 root 6 minus 13 root 2 over 2.
Oh, change your mode.
How do I do that?
Hit mode and then go to classic instead of math print, I think.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, you want classic. Alrighty. 13. Okay, this one requires a little bit of work. I have two forces, well, it's not that much work, acting on an angle. They're both 46.3 pounds, and it makes an angle of 107. 46.3, 46.3. Find the magnitude of the resultant.
You take it out.
Whoa. Okay, so remember, to find the resultant here, I have a point here, and two forces are acting on it. The resultant, I have to draw that parallelogram. The resultant would be this, right? That diagonal. Okay, so let's see. This is a, if this is a parallelogram, then this side is also 46.3. And then can I figure out this angle right here?
Yes.
It is not. I wish it
What you can do
was.
is you have 107, and then you have that angle. But you can use law of cosines, right?
I'll use law of, yes,
You can't use
cosines.
sine, 'cause you only have one angle.
Right. So now I know that this angle is a 73. How did I get 73, by the way?
I don't know.
These two angles are supplementary, right, in a parallelogram?
Which ones are?
Any two consecutive angles in a parallelogram.
They're supplementary.
Yep. So ignore that diagonal line. Just look at this quadrilateral.
Okay.
Well, parallelogram. Any two angles in a row are supplementary. So these two would be supplementary, these two, these two. I don't need another angle. Nope. Because now what I'm really looking for is the length of this, right? So let me redraw this without all this other stuff going on. I have a 40, oh yeah, sorry. 46.3, 46.3, and the angle in between is a 73. I'm looking for this. That's just law of cosines again.
So you're gonna do.
Instead of writing 46.3 squared plus 43.6 squared, you just do 43.6.
No, you can do 2 times 46.3 squared. Yeah. Cosine 73. I get 55. I don't know if you do.
Get this test tomorrow, girls.
14 is the exact same question. It's just less for you to draw out because they already did most of it. You have to find the resultant again, use the parallelogram rule, they even tell you to. So I draw my parallelogram. This side would be 400, this side would be 210. And I'm looking for this. Right? That would be my resultant. So I do the same thing. If this angle's 120, that means this one's 60. So, again, if I just draw the triangle without all this extra stuff,
Well, they're both equilateral triangles. 60, 66.
you don't know that that's being split evenly, though. So, 210, 400, and the angle in between is a 60, and you're looking for this. So, law of cosines again.
We're looking for. How do you know that angle's 60?
Because these two have to be supplementary.
Yep.
I get 346.6.
So what did you do to get that?
Law of cosines. So I did x squared equals 400 squared plus 210 squared minus 2 times 400 times 210 times cosine of 60. So you do all that, take the square root of that answer, and you should get what I got. Okay, we ready for the next one?
Sure.
Actually, I'm gonna stop the video and start a new one, just so we don't, I'd hate for us to lose the whole thing in the, so.